Good morning, all of you. So today we'll continue with the registers in that. The instruments will focus on the instrument. Like yesterday we have seen V-Stone network. Now today we are going to learn about the instrument called as ammeter and the voltmeter, that one. So again, the same idea of the series, parallel, KCL, KVL, equipotential, those ideas we are going to apply. Some resistor networks I'll solve. Coming classes I'll solve a few more problems how to find the equivalent resistance one. So now the topics which we are left out with ammeter, voltmeter, potentiometer, meter bridge, and post office box. All are instruments. They're working. In that ammeter, voltmeter, you get plenty of numericals than any other thing. So let me just discuss theory and some numericals. Then the evening today I'll take class because tomorrow will be burden. So today evening 6 p.m. I'm going to take class for 1 hour. Okay, first we'll discuss. Already we had yesterday the idea of galvanometer. So this is basically a galvanometer. This will be 0. Let me take a galvanometer with maximum current it can measure is. So this will be 2, 4, 6, 8. So like this we can put, and there's a pointer. And these are the terminals. So what is the condition now? Construction working of galvanometer we are going to study in the magnetism chapter. There's a pointer. All the instrument, the overall instrument what happen is made up of a conducting material. So any shaped conductor will have a resistance. So that resistance of galvanometer will call G. Galvanometer resistance. Even this wire also will be included in that. Even this wire also will be included. Even this connecting leads also will be included. Then after this, I wrote something 10 milliampere. Then this will become Ig equal to this called like a maximum current, or current for which the deflection in the galvanometer will be maximum. So this called like a maximum galvanometer current, or maximum current we'll call this one. So if you send 10 milliampere, so the pointer will be at 10 milliampere. If you send 5 milliampere, the pointer will be 5 milliampere. If you send 1 milliampere, 1 milliampere. If you send 20 milliampere, the pointer cannot go beyond. It will be there at 10 milliampere. And it may get damaged. Any current, if you send more than that Ig, then the galvanometer will get damaged here. So how to search Ig value? So looking at from the scale, so what is the maximum permitted value of that particular current to galvanometer open? In the scale, it will be mentioned. The maximum is what? 10 milliampere. So now what will happen? We can put Ig equal to 10 milliampere. Can we measure the voltage? So what is Vg equal to? Let's assume usually galvanometer will pick up 100 ohm the resistance. So what is Vg equal to? Ig into G. So this will be 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 into 100. 1 volt. So what is the maximum permitted voltage? What is the maximum voltage I can measure across galvanometer is saying that 1 volt. This is called like a galvanometer voltage. So maximum voltage that maximum voltage a galvanometer can measure. This galvanometer. If you apply potential difference 2 volt, then the pointer will be at 10 milliampere and it cannot deflect further. So therefore, this will put the limit on the maximum current a galvanometer can measure. No, and what about this? This Vg will put the limit on maximum voltage it can measure. The maximum voltage it can measure. So therefore, if I want to use this galvanometer to measure higher currents, if I want to use to measure this galvanometer if I want to use to measure this galvanometer for higher voltages, I can't use. No. So what is the limitation for this galvanometer? I can measure any current 0 to 10 milliampere. What is the maximum voltage I can measure? 1 volt. Now the same galvanometer, how I can use this to measure higher currents, or how the galvanometer I can use to measure the higher voltages is what the topic will be. A device which is specifically used to measure current, range of current. It's called as the ammeter. So first we'll start with the ammeter, a device used to measure a range of currents. It's called as the ammeter, that one. So how to convert, means now what is available? Only galvanometer is available for us. The galvanometer only what should be modified to read larger current. But again, if you send current to galvanometer more than 10 milliampere, what happens? The galvanometer will get damaged. So I'll put here, if current through galvanometer is greater than Ig, the galvanometer damaged, in the sense the pointer itself, what happen again, will not return back to zero. The inside the galvanometer, the spring will be there, that will get damaged here. The total equipment will get damaged here. So that's why, so this is some precaution we have to take it. So the current through galvanometer should never cross, should never even touch this Ig. Should be slightly less than Ig, 10 milliampere, 9.9 milliampere. Okay, fine. This is a precaution what we have to take whenever we are using the galvanometer. Okay, now the same galvanometer, I'm going to convert that into ammeter. So for that, there's a galvanometer which will have galvanometer resistance, and there's a scale 0, 5, 10 milliampere. What is the value of this? 100 ohm. Now I'm going to bring a low resistance in parallel. I'll call this as shunt. So what do you mean by, so what is the value of Ig? Let me indicate all that one. So Ig, how much it is? 10 milliampere. A low resistance connected in parallel is called as a shunt, and there's a current which I want to measure. So what is the range of current I want to measure? I want to measure a current of, say, like some higher order. Then I can take help of this condition. So what is this? S is called as a low resistance. What do you mean by shunt? First, a low resistance connected in parallel. A low resistance connected in parallel is called as a shunt. That is the one basic way of defining the shunt. So now they need not call even shunt resistance. I think in exam you have to be careful. They just say a shunt is connected. Sir, he didn't say it's a ammeter, voltmeter, resistor, capacitor. A low resistance connected in parallel is called a shunt. This, instead of calling low resistance connected in parallel, they just use word shunt. A shunt is connected means it should flash for you this much here. There's a convention. Now let the current flow to the galvanometer. Let it be Ig. So what is the remaining current? Flows will be I max minus Ig. So give polarity plus minus, and the same current Ig will come. I max minus Ig minus Ig. So that equal to I max here. So when you apply that maximum current, a current which has to be measured. So what is this? What is this I max? A current to be measured. What is our goal? We have to measure this I max. For that, I'm connecting a low resistance in parallel with the galvanometer. And this is the galvanometer. Okay, how they are? So as good as it is like a two parallel circuits, no? Instead of thinking something very big, there are two parallel circuits are there, and we are sending current Imax. Then a current will branch the remaining Imax minus Ig, and the same current it has to leave. This is Ig. So this is equivalent circuit. In place of galvanometer, replace with a galvanometer resistance. How they're parallel. So when they're parallel, the drop should be equal. So here Imax minus Ig into S should be equal to Ig into G. So what is the value of shunt to be connected? Ig into G by Imax minus Ig. So what is Imax? The range of current which you want to measure. Suppose what was the maximum current in a galvanometer? I can measure 10 milliampere. So I want to, let's go for this one. So first the range is Imax equal to 100 milliamperes. So what is the galvanometer? No, not maximum current. Shunt, it's a just definition, nothing to do. So Imax equal to how much is equal to 100 milliampere. Then what should be the value of the shunt that should be connected here? No? So this should be equal to, it should be equal to 100 milliampere, 100 into 10 to power of on the numerator, 10 into 10 to power of minus 3, 100, 100 into 10 to power of minus 3, 10 into 10 to power of minus 3. So this should be 1000 divided by 90 will get it. So this will be 100 by 9. 11.11 ohm. So this will be the value of the resistance which I should connect here. So let's see that how do it will work out. How do it will work out? Really, sir, will it measure? So the same galvanometer. I didn't going to change the galvanometer. So what was the range? 0, 5, 10 milliampere. Then what I connected? I connected a shunt value of how much? Then how much of current? Let me pass the current equal to say like a 50 milliampere. Then how much will flow? 5 milliampere will flow here because the value of shunt resistance we have so chosen that 5 milliampere will flow here. Remaining 45 milliampere will flow. Current divider formula, you know it, and the same 5 milliampere will come, and this will be 50 milliampere. Then if a 5 milliampere flows, where the pointer? Pointer will be at 5 milliampere. This will be the pointer. This will be the position of pointer. Now I want to measure this current, no? So what is the current? 50 milliampere. So therefore I'll go for one more scale. Here I'm going to put one more scale, or I'll close this galvanometer scale. So what should be this scale? This should be 100 milliampere, 50 milliampere, 0 milliampere. If I send 50 milliampere, the pointer open here, how much of current will flow through the galvanometer? 5 milliampere only, because the value of shunt is so chosen that 45 milliampere will pass through the shunt, only 5 milliampere will pass through it. If a 5 milliampere flow, the pointer will come. I'll close this scale. I'll close this scale. If I close this scale, just get only the green color scale. So where the pointer is 50 milliampere. So what this galvanometer is reading now? It is reading 50 milliampere. Okay, so there are two scales are there. So what is this? This will be a ammeter scale here to call. Now which scale we should look at? Ammeter scale. So therefore in the lab what I do, I'll close this, the galvanometer scale. I'm going to close this galvanometer scale. If I close that, then I'll be only what will be visible? Only ammeter scale. If I send 50 milliampere, pointer will be at 50 milliampere. If I send 10 milliampere, the similar diagram. There's a construction. Once see, like if you are able to understand this basic, the rest all numericals are very easy for you. Now, if I send, let's assume that I'm going to send here the 20 milliampere. Then how much here? 2 milliampere. The remaining 18 milliampere will flow. Why, sir? Why you are making the current to flow? By current divider formula, you check it. 0, 5, 10 milliampere. And here is what 2 will be there. The pointer now will be located at 2 milliampere. But what will happen? I should for the ammeter scale. In the ammeter scale, how I should modify. Don't modify for 0 to 20. What was the scale design? The scale was designed. I think I'm writing very small font. You better magnify in your mobile. So this should be the value how much? 20 milliampere. So if you cover this galvanometer scale, then you look at only the green color scale, that one ammeter scale. Then if 20 milliampere flows here, when 20 milliampere flows here, how much here? Pointer will be 20 milliampere. When 50 milliampere, pointer will be at 50 milliampere. When 100 milliampere, 10 milliampere will flow here. Then the pointer will come 10 milliampere. Close this scale, then 100 milliampere it will indicate. So by just connecting a low resistance in parallel with the galvanometer, what we are doing, we are increasing the range of galvanometer. We are increasing the range of galvanometer. So therefore, now what is ammeter now? So what you should call ammeter? The ammeter means here a shunt with galvanometer will become ammeter. So altogether, a low resistance in parallel with galvanometer will be ammeter. So what is ammeter now? This total setup you have to call ammeter. Okay, fine. This will be. So now, what is ammeter now? So galvanometer in parallel with the shunt is called as ammeter. So now this particular what all current flowing. So will it encounter any effective resistance as galvanometer and the shunt in parallel? So what is the ammeter resistance? The ammeter resistance should be equal to GS by G plus S. So what you should call this? Ammeter resistance or internal resistance of an ammeter. Altogether, the device will offer some resistance to the external circuit. How much it is? GS by G plus S. That we'll call as ammeter resistance here. So this is like now I'll increase the range. So I max 100. No? So let me go for 1000 milliampere. 1000 milliampere means so it will become 1 ampere. Then what is the formula? Shunt is equal to Ig into G by I max minus Ig. So what is Ig value? 10 into 10 to power of minus 3 into 100 by, this is 1000 into 10 to power of minus 3. Thousand by 990. 100 by 99. This will be 1.01 ohm. I think so. As we increase the range, what is this Imax now? I should call range. So what is the values? Can it measure only 1000 or anything from 0 to 1000? Anything from 0 to 1000. If you send 500 milliampere, then current through galvanometer. I'm just there's a last diagram. So what is the value of shunt? We are, should be connected now. 1.01 ohm. Again, there's a galvanometer scale. So now you have to modify this scale also. 0 to 1000 it should be. or 1 ampere, better you call 1 0.50. If I send 0.5 ampere, what actually happens here? 5 milliampere will flow here, 495 milliampere will flow here. So since 5 milliampere flows, so the pointer, or I'll put it 0.6. 600, 595. 594. So 6 milliampere. So how much of current I sent? Actually 0.6 ampere. So where the pointer will be, okay, got this one. No? So this is what the ammeter scale. And the below one is what? The galvanometer scale. There's a mechanism of working. So it can, you don't think that it will measure only 1000. Anything from 0 to 1000 milliampere or 0 to 1 ampere, the ammeter will measure. So this was the galvanometer. So what galvanometer made up of? Shunt and what ammeter made up of? Shunt and galvanometer. So therefore, shall we put like this? As range increases, the value of shunt decreases. Shall we put this? This is one basic rule you have to remember. Means as I go for 10 ampere, if I go for 10 ampere, then what is the value of the shunt required? The last one. So I is equal to how much? 10 ampere. 10 milliampere means it will become 10,000 milliampere. So the value of shunt required will be Ig by G by range into Ig. So this will be 10 into 10 to the power of minus 300, 10,000 milliampere minus 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So this will be 1000 by 9090, 100 by 99. So this will become less than 1 ohm. 100 divided by 999, 0.1. So what is the problem we are going to encounter? Instead of 1.01, let's come for here. Instead of 1.01, if it is there 1.11 ohm, what will happen to the range? The range is going to change. So therefore, look at this one. Exactly how much I needed? I needed 0.1, 0.1000 ohm. So it is. So if value is this much, then only open the range will be available for 0 to 10 amperes. So now as I increase the range, so as I increase the range of the ammeter, so what is the value of the shunt required will become very low value. No, manufacturing of shunt of such a low resistance, and that too with precise, exactly it should be 0.1. Then will open, it'll get converted to that particular range. Otherwise there'll be some error. So these are some problems what I encounter for the low values of the shunt here. So this I'll overcome by some other method. Here. So therefore, as the range increases, the shunt value, the shunt value decreases. There's a condition which you have to remember. For ammeter, at the range, shunt value decreases. And what is the effective internal resistance of ammeter? Galvanometer resistance and shunt resistance, how they are parallel, as seen by the current entering a junction. So therefore, the internal resistance of ammeter should be Gs by G plus S. Okay, there's a overall. So let's see that practically if I use it, what are the problems I'm going to encounter? Means here afterwards, we need to show in detail all galvanometer, everything. So there are two resistors are there. Let it be R1 2 ohm R2 3 ohm. Let the EMF of this cell be 2 volt. Then on paper we'll calculate what is the current flowing will be E by R1 plus R2. This will be 2 by 2 plus 3, 2 by 5, 0.4 ampere. This is on paper, but how do I measure that current? Practically, I want to measure. So I'll construct a circuit. I'll bring an ammeter into the picture. Now this ammeter, I'll show a symbol A like this. Just a very simple approach is there. So where all this ammeter. Ammeter means here after will show like this. There's an arrow, this one, and you write RA nearby. What do you mean by RA? The resistance of the ammeter. 2 volt. R1 is 2 ohm. Here 1 resistor. R2 3 ohm. Let this internal resistance of this ammeter be 1 ohm, because definitely I can never get an ammeter with zero internal resistance. So why it is not possible? Look at this. What is the ammeter resistance? What is the ammeter resistance? So the formula will be G S by G plus S. No, for ammeter resistance to be zero, what is the basic condition you can put it? The shunt should be zero. If S equal to 0 ohm, then no current will flow through the galvanometer. No, practically is it possible to construct an ammeter with zero internal resistance? If S equal to 0, then whatever the current will pass through this shunt only, because this will become a zero resistance path. No current will flow, so no current, no deflection. So therefore, what is the resistance of ideal internal resistance of the internal resistance of, I just say ammeter. Ammeter means understood practical. Now, internal resistance of ideal ammeter. Internal resistance of ideal ammeter is 0. So therefore, whenever you get a problem, is it ideal or practical? If I just say ammeter means you have to assume it to be practical. Is it ideal if I mention, then where all ammeter is there, you can put short circuit. But here I wrote nearby ammeter 1 ohm. What do you mean by that? So when you are doing a problem, just replace in place of ammeter with 1 ohm resistance. R2, R1, and this is RA. How much? 1 ohm. And carry on the problem. Then what about the reading of ammeter? The current through the internal resistance of ammeter will be the reading of ammeter. So by writing this, so what is this now? I dash. The current flowing will be different because the resistance got added up. So I dash equal to E by R1 plus R2 plus RA. 2 by, this will be 6. 1 by 3 or 0.33 ampere. Coil, the resistance of coil, all other leading things will happen will become galvanometer. Yeah. Galvanometer means nothing but like coil suspended between magnet here. The coil and other other many things that will make the internal resistance of galvanometer. Okay, now I got what was the expected value? 0.4. No, this was the theoretical. This is the practical. No. No. So is there any error? Yes, there's error. No. So what is the error? 0.33 minus 0.4. There's the error. So tell me like what is the problem now? Here afterwards, whenever, what is the purpose of ammeter? Why we brought ammeter? To measure current. The very measuring instrument itself what happen will introduce error. So what is the error now? So the error will be percentage error will calculate. Percentage error in measurement of current. How much it should be equal to? I minus I dash by I into 100%. Into 100 you make it. Then you get the percentage error in measurement of current. So you calculate this. The error will be something you can see like it's large, that one. So tell me how to minimize this error. The only alternative available is I should pick up an emitter of very low resistance. Very low resistance means there should be certain very systematic the idea of that. What do you mean by sir low resistance? Look at the what is the circuit, what is the branch resistance? 2 ohm plus 3 ohm, 5 ohm, no? The branch resistance. What is the internal resistance of ammeter? Connected is 1 ohm. There is an assumption, the ammeter I picked up whose internal resistance is 1 ohm. It's a given. I can pick up anything, I just picked up an example. You just go to the open in the lab cupboard, you will get ammeters of different range and also the different internal resistance. I just picked up one. And now look at this, there's a practical, no? So what is the problem now? The error is there. How to minimize error? If the value of RA is as low as possible, how much of low? There should be some any specific rule. So if the resistance of the ammeter in a branch in which you are connecting, if the resistance of ammeter is at least it should be 1/10 of the branch, then the error will be minimum. We need not to bother. Of course, there will be error, but that error will become very small. Suppose what is the branch resistance? 2 ohm plus 3 ohm, 5 ohm. Then what is the expected value of the emitter resistance? Should be 1/10 of the branch resistance. So 5 by 10, 0.5. If the emitter resistance was 0.5, then what happened? Practically, as we can see, okay, even that error comes also, we can manage it. So what is the basic rule now? An emitter whose internal resistance will become 1/10 of the branch resistance. Then it is said to be good emitter. Now here if I come with an emitter of 0.1 ohm, instead of RA 1 ohm, I'll connect emitter with internal resistance 0.1 ohm. Then definitely you can say it's a good emitter. Okay, got this now? So the emitter is said to be good or bad, not with respect to himself, by comparing with the branch resistance. So what is the generalized rule now? The emitter resistance, the emitter internal resistance of emitter must be 1/10 of branch resistance in which it is connected, not total circuit, the branch, that particular branch. And how we have to connect emitter? It should be connected in series. Are you seeing that one? I want to measure current in this branch. So I should connect that emitter in series in that branch. So what I should do? I should cut this wire. Then I should connect the emitter across that wire. Clear this? So here, usually it will be done like this. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut at these 2 points. I'll cut the wire here. Then I'll introduce the emitter. It should be connected in series. So what is the first rule? The first rule, what it says, like the internal resistance of emitter must be 1/10 of branch resistance in which it is connected to minimize error. Okay, just when you enter into the lab, whichever emitter, you just go to the cupboard and whichever emitter you feel, just pick up and connect in the circuit. No, you should first have a basic idea of circuit. The branch in which you are connecting emitter, what is the resistance? 5 ohm. Then you have to look at the internal resistance of emitter. If it is around 0.4, 0.4, 0.2 or 0.3 or even 0.5, yes, you can use. If the internal resistance of emitter is 1 ohm, 2 ohm, 10 ohm, then you should not use that one. If you use, error will be more. Then, so next again, what is the next rule? The emitter must be connected in series in that branch. In the branch in which current has to be measured. Okay, fine. So this is the some generalized things about the emitter, that one. So internal resistance, ideal emitter internal resistance will be 0. So now what is your entire problem solving? What is the problem with the galvanometer? Construction of galvanometer with high currents means I cannot construct a galvanometer which can measure current of 1 ampere. There's a limit. So usually galvanometers no maximum is 100 milliampere. That was the maximum possible. So as you go for Ig value large, 1 ampere, 10 ampere, no, the size of galvanometer will increase. The magnets which I'm going to put, the coil, everything, no, the size will increase. The cost will increase. So now, what is the idea is practically, if you take galvanometer of range, say like a 1 milliampere, it will cost you say around 100 rupees. 10 milliampere, the cost will become usually around 300 rupees. If you go for 100 milliampere, the cost will come easily around 1200. As the range increases, the cost will increase, even the size increases. Okay, clear this one now. So now I want to measure 100 milliampere. Shall I purchase a galvanometer of 1200 rupees? I'll measure the current, or I'll take galvanometer of 1 milliampere. Then what I do, I'll connect one resistance in parallel. So Ig into G. So galvanometer resistance also proportionally will increase. So Ig into G. So I'll use this formula, no? So I want to measure 100 milliampere. As you can use this galvanometer. Cost is how much? 1200 rupees. The size also will be very big. Instead, can I use the same 100 rupees galvanometer to measure that 100 milliampere current? Yes, for that, what I should do? I should just calculate the value of S. What is the resistance value? Maximum 2 rupees will come, or very good resistor 5 rupees accuracy. So how much of money I saved? 1100. So construction of galvanometer with very high galvanometer current, what when the cost and size will increase, and also the maintenance problem. The error will be more. That's why usually we don't get even 100 milliampere. Usually 10 is the most upper limit, is what I have seen. 100 milliampere is used in some applications, but a lot of problems will be there. So in the lab, no, usually you come across 10, 1 milliampere or even microampere. So there's a major problem with the galvanometer. We can't directly increase the Ig value. That's why we are going for alternative. You see, this is much idea, no? By adding another 5 rupees to your 100 rupees investment, you are able to measure large current. Here, what you should do, you should invest 1200 rupees. Got the idea? So this is the cost matters a lot. Even the size also. So this is about the percentage error. So therefore now emitter what happen? Only ideal emitter, no problem. Practically what happen? Any emitter, if you are using to measure current, will it introduce error in the reading? Yes, it will be there. So this you keep in mind. Okay, similarly now, the voltmeter, construction of voltmeter. So what is the voltmeter? Is a device used to measure voltages. Then already we have galvanometer. Why we can't use? So what is the problem with the galvanometer? Ig into G. So what is the value of Ig I picked up? So let's assume 10 milliampere this one, and this having 100 ohm. So what is the maximum value of this 1 volt? Anything more than 1 volt, the galvanometer cannot measure. But practically what happens? I do come across the wide varieties of voltage, no? 1 volt, 2 volt, 5 volt, 10 volt, 40,000 volt, 1 lakh volt, or 5 lakh, 10 lakh volt. So definitely what happens? I need an instrument which can measure high voltages here. So the galvanometer cannot help us. Just plain galvanometer will not help us. So therefore, I'm going to modify this galvanometer. So what I'm going to do now, conversion of galvanometer to voltmeter. For that, the galvanometer I'll pick up a galvanometer. Again, this is 0 to 10 milliampere. The voltage which I'm going to measure here, I'll connect a resistance in series. Now what is the value of G? 100 ohm. Now what was the maximum permitted limit of galvanometer? 1 volt. Now I want to measure, say, let it be 10 volt. So this is a V max. I applied a potential difference. So then the current will flow Ig plus minus. This will be plus minus. The current will pass through here. So what is the value of V max? Applying KVL, V max equal to Ig into G minus plus Ig into Rs. So we wanted value of Rs here. So what is Rs equal to? V max minus Ig into G by Ig. So what is the V max now? I want to construct a galvanometer. I'll come later on this. I want to construct a galvanometer of range 10 volt. So let me start here. So first, I want to measure anything voltage from 0 to 10 volt. Not only 10 volt, 0 to 10 volt. So I'll substitute the formula. This should be 10 Ig value. So this should be 10 into 10 to power of minus 3. G value is 100. 10 into 10 to power of minus 3. 10 minus 1, 9. So this will be 1000. 900 ohm. So what is the how the construction? The construction will be like this. This is the voltage, how much is being applied? 10 volt is applied. Then there are two scales are there. One galvanometer scale. This will be 0, 5, 10 milliampere. Then I'll bring the voltmeter scale. 0, 5, 10 volt. When I apply 10 volt, the current that will flow here will be equal to Ig. And how much of current will flow? 10 milliampere. One resistance in series. What is value of G? We assumed it to be 100 ohm. And what is value of this? 900 ohm I connected. Then here Ig value will flow. Then where the pointer? The pointer will be pointing at 10 volt. If I apply 5 volt, what conditions will arise? The same thing. We designed this for, I apply 5 volt. Back page. Okay, no, let me apply. I apply 10 volt, no? If I apply 5 volt, what conditions will arise here? It looks very simple topic. You check the advanced paper, no? Very good number of questions, especially the second part of this one: KCL, KVL, ammeter, voltmeter, potentiometer, meter bridge, then post office box. Very less problems or hardly nothing about the resistive networks. You have to be very careful about the picking the content. At least not, the final exam, no. What you revise is something very important. The last moment what you revise plays a major role, especially the chapter like resistors, no. So you should focus more on the instruments and the basic Ohm's law. I applied 5 volt. So how much of current will flow here? The current that will flow here will be 5 milliampere. And I'll show it some 6 volt. 6 milliampere will flow. The resistance value I didn't change. The same it was 900 ohm. Then where the pointer, so this should be we designed it for 0 to 10 volt, no? So this will be 0, 5, 10 volt. The pointer will be at 6. Now which scale I should look here? Which scale? The voltmeter scale. Naturally, the voltmeter scale is what I should look at. So what is this green color one? Is the voltmeter scale. Don't think that only 10 volt it can measure. Anything 0 to 10. If you apply 4 volt here, if you apply here 4 volt, 4 milliampere will flow, the pointer will come at 4 milliampere. Then look at the voltmeter scale, it will be reading 4 volt. So what we are doing, we are just making the galvanometer to read now the higher voltages. See, look at the trick, how they have made observation and brought it here. Sir, like what is the maximum voltage across galvanometer? 1 volt, no? But how much we are applying? 10 volt. So will the galvanometer will not get damaged? Therefore the question. So let's see that. If you apply 6 milliampere, so how much of drop will be here? You know enough of the KVL, that one, or potential divider formula. The remaining how much? 5.4 volt will drop here. Check it now. When you apply 6 volt, 0.6 will drop. The remaining 5.4 volt will drop here. If you apply 10 volt, 1 volt will drop here, the 9 volt will be here. This will be the potential. Is it safe? Is it galvanometer safe? Yes, no, no problem. So I'm not going to damage by applying large voltage. The galvanometer is not being damaged, and we are also using it to measure the higher voltages. But what is the thing? I should construct a scale. So what I do is like, what is the scale? Scale will be painted by something, no? So I'll don't go for 2 scales. In the given scale only, I'll take a paint. I'm writing 0, 5, 10. I'll write 0, 5, 10 volt. Pretty sure. Then the same instrument now will become, is able to read the higher voltages. So now you can see what all the, in place of galvanometer, whenever you see the voltmeter, now what you see? A galvanometer in series with high resistance. So therefore, the internal resistance of voltmeter, internal resistance of voltmeter, it should be RV should be equal to G plus RS. This will be internal resistance of voltmeter. So what do you expect? Internal resistance of voltmeter should be very large because RS will be large value of 900. You check it. Okay, there's about the construction of voltmeter. Let's go for practically. Let me use this in circuit. What are the troubles it will introduce? There's a 5 volt. There's a R1, 2 ohm, R2, 3 ohm. No, let's measure practically. Theoretically, we know what is the drop, the expected drop here, how much it will be. V2. And this drop, we are interested V2. So from potential divider formula, V2 is equal to E into R2 by R1 plus R2 is how much? 5. R2 is how much? 3 by 3 volt. 3 volt is what? Critical value. Now let me introduce an voltmeter. Let me introduce the voltmeter to measure that particular drop across this resistor. R2, this R1. So what is the resistance of this? 3 ohm. This is 2 ohm. So where I should measure across these 2 points? So I'm going to connect that voltmeter. And there's a method of showing that we have connected an voltmeter. And every voltmeter will have internal resistance. Now the internal resistance of voltmeter, let this be equal to say 1 ohm. I'll take it 3 ohm for calculation purpose. What is that RV? Internal resistance of voltmeter. Now practically what all this particular cell, it will see R1, R2 and also even the RV. So earlier there was a current I was flowing. So now a different current I dash has to flow. So these are the terminals across which I introduce voltmeter AB. So how you have to connect? Where you are measuring potential, there across the terminals, the voltmeter should be introduced, not in series in the branch. So how you have to connect the voltmeter directly, you have to come and connect across the terminals where you are measuring. Across points A and B are measuring. So there you connect the voltmeter. Then what is the effective, the circuit, the current expression for I dash will find out. So 3 ohm parallel to 3 ohm will be 1 ohm, 3 ohm. So this EMF is 5 volt. So then what is I dash value? This is the voltmeter. I dash should be equal to 2 plus 1, 5 by 3 ampere. Then what is the reading of voltmeter? What is the reading of voltmeter? That one. A current I dash will flow. So we'll calculate the one or directly we'll calculate this VAB. We can use another formula, VAB equal to 1 into what is the effective of RV and R2? I'll write directly the formula. E into the effective resistance R2 RV by R2 plus RV by R1 R2 RV by R2 plus RV. Because how RV and how the resistance of voltmeter and the resistor are 2, they'll be in parallel. So substituting this will be 5 volt. This bracket term is 1.
Sir, I dash should be 10 by 7, sir.
Okay, this 5 volt. 3 ohm will be 3 by 2 ohm, no? This is 10 by 7. This will be 3 by 2. R1 is 2 plus, this will be 3 by 2. Anybody value VAB?
15 by 7.
15 by 7 or 2.1. Now you see that there's a practical reading of voltmeter. What was expected from voltmeter? It should read 3 volt, no? We expected it to read 3 volt, but how much reading? 2.1 volt. So the very purpose of voltmeter, why do we brought? We brought it so that it can measure the actual drop. What was the actual drop? 3 volt, but how much it is reading? 2.1 volt. So therefore now, where is the problem? Is there any error? Percentage error? So again, percentage error. Error should be equal to V2 minus VAB by into 100. Like this, the percentage error in measurement of voltage by the voltmeter we are calculating. So these are some problems what we are encountering. So how to minimize this error? definitely there must be certain like a method. So instead of this voltmeter of resistance 3 ohm, if I brought the voltmeter of internal resistance 100 ohm or say 30 ohm, then what will be the effective resistance? Will be near to 3 ohm. Then the error will get minimized. No. So therefore, what is a good voltmeter? The one which will have very high internal resistance. So what is a means like a how to make error zero totally? Then when voltmeter of infinite internal resistance, if voltmeter of infinite internal resistance will come, then the error will be zero. Infinity parallel to 3 ohm will be 3 ohm only. Are you getting this one? So therefore, what is a ideal voltmeter? Ideal voltmeter internal resistance RV will be infinity. Practical voltmeter open RV will be some larger value. So therefore, now ideal voltmeter possible. Ideal voltmeter possible, not possible that one. We can't do anything that one. Just only on paper it is. Ideal voltmeter internal resistance will be infinity. Internal resistance of, I'll write statement. Again, RV symbol, you may get confused. Internal resistance of ideal voltmeter is infinity. Okay, fine, this one. So, but usually what happens practically, we don't get that ideal. So therefore, practically what I should do to minimize error? What is the best practice? Again, the internal resistance of voltmeter should be 1/10 or should be 10 times of the resistance of point across which you are connecting. So where I'm connecting across points AB. What is the resistance across these two points? 3 ohm. So what should have been the resistance of voltmeter? If it were 30 ohm, it's fine. Practically it's acceptable. The error is acceptable. So again, what we have to make a rule? The resistance of, to minimize error, the resistance of voltmeter must be 10 times of resistance of points across which it is connected. So there's again one rule we are making it. Okay, getting this one. So say we can't get ideal, but at least what happens if I bring a resistance of like a voltmeter resistance, a voltmeter whose internal resistance is 30 ohm, good. So I'll connect 100 ohm here. Instead of this, I'll bring, it's still more good. Still more the error will be more. Worst case, what happens, at least it should be 10 times of the point across connected. There's a rule, it's a convention what we follow in the lab, possibility of asking. In the books, they didn't mention. You check it, this particular thing, no? The resistance of voltmeter must be 10 times of resistance of point across which it is connected to minimize error. This is a rule what we follow in the lab. So can be asked for you in exams. You have to, in books open, they didn't mention this, but in a lab, what happened, I do follow this particular basic rule. So any voltmeter which is there in the cupboard, I should not pick up. First, I should know the circuit, where I'm going to connect and what is the resistance across that points. I must have a basic idea. Then I should pick up voltmeter, which should follow this particular condition. Okay, got this. So here, the drop across the internal resistance of voltmeter is what? The reading of voltmeter. The current to internal resistance of ammeter will be the reading of ammeter. So what is your entire problem solving? Where all ammeter, voltmeter is there, if they say ideal, what you should do with ammeter? Replace with short circuit. What you should do with voltmeter? Ideal voltmeter, open circuit. If it is a say like a practical, then replace with internal resistance. Then current to internal resistance of ammeter is reading of ammeter. The drop across internal resistance of voltmeter will be the reading of voltmeter. These are some rules which I'm going to follow it. So the rest all what we do is about the numericals here. So the numericals again the same KCL, KVL, or nodal analysis, or branch current method, or equipotential points. So along with this voltmeter, ammeter is what I'll be using. Any doubt you can clarify? This is about the theoretical background. Okay, fine. So let's take the numericals. I'll come to this later on. First, let me finish off some general thing. Okay, these are the two voltmeters we have. Nearby voltmeter, I wrote 4 ohm, 6 ohm. Find the reading of voltmeter with switch first case, second case closed. With the switch S open, that one. So first case we are discussing the problem. So no current will flow this open circuit. What is a V1? What is this 4 ohm? Internations of the first voltmeter. 6 ohm internations of second voltmeter. So then how the current will flow like this. This will be the I by 2. Why I am giving equal current? Look at the branch resistance of this. 6 plus 4, 4 plus 6, 10. So the current will branch equally. Then this will have a drop. This will be. So what is V1? Reading of the first voltmeter. V1 equal to, or you can go for potential divider formula. 4 into 10 by 4 plus 6. Instead of calculating this I2 now, I'm going for potential divider formula because these two voltmeters are in series across a cell. 4 volt, V2 will be 6 into, V2 will be 10 minus, or it is like this. E minus V1, V2 equals 0. 10 minus 4, applying KVL. So what is the drop? Drop is equal to how much? 6 volt. This will be the reading of voltmeter with switch S open. Let me close the switch. After closing the switch, this will be 6 ohm, 4 ohm, 10 volt, 4 ohm, 6 ohm. So 6 ohm parallel to 4 ohm, it will have some value. 4 ohm parallel to 6 ohm, it will also value equal to that. So shall we take now the drop will be V1 dash, V2 dash. So the effective resistance will be same. So V1 dash equal to V2 dash, in fact equal to 5 volt. After closing switch, both the voltmeters will read same value. Because the effective resistance you see 6 plus 4, 6 parallel to 4, 2.4 ohm. This will also be 2.4 ohm. So and they are in series. So drops will be equal. So both voltmeters will read the same value. So no, nothing to do with voltmeter. No, you don't bother a galvanometer or all that particular thing. Just directly bring the idea of voltmeter and get into the problem. Now take this one. A voltmeter when connected across R1 reads 5 volt. What will be reading? A voltmeter when it is connected across R2 5 ohm. So try to read the question. It's telling that when voltmeter connected across R1 equal to 6 ohm reads 5 volt. What will be the reading of voltmeter when it is connected across R2 equal to 5, R2 is equal to 4 ohm, sorry. There's no further information. It's telling when connected across R1 reads 5 volt. When it's connected across R2, what will be the reading? He didn't mention about the type of voltmeter, no? Is it a ideal practical? I think we should really look at the condition here. Let's go back to the basic thing. You should have noticed, come for this. When you connect voltmeter across an element, what was the resistance of this? 3 ohm. After introducing voltmeter, how much the effective resistance has become? Less than 3, no? It will decrease, no? So what will happen to current through the branch? What happened to current through the branch? Will increase, no? So therefore, now is there any possibility of this R1 getting damaged? Yes, now this is the maximum power dissipation. Let's assume that across 2 ohm, the power dissipation is maximum. Now itself, just around maximum. The moment to connect voltmeter, so what will happen to the resistance? Earlier it was 3 ohm, now it has become 1.5 ohm. Then the total resistance what happen? Here what happen? The resistance of the circuit will decrease, no? The current will increase. Then earlier a current I, this was having some almost equal to maximum power. Now what happen? The power dissipation here will become more. I dash will be greater than I. If you want to check it, I dash will be greater than. So what is the power dissipated across this element? It will be more compared to the earlier one. So what happened to the R1? R1 may get damaged. You have to be very careful. Questions can be asked like this. When an voltmeter is introduced in circuit, is there any possibility of other elements getting damaged? It's like bulb. This will get damaged here. This will get damaged here. So this is the problem with the voltmeter. That's why when you are using voltmeter in a lab, no, suddenly some other elements get damaged. What is the reason? This particular thing. So therefore we have to be very careful. It's not that easy. I'm telling this one on paper. Okay, fine. In a lab, no, the thing, suppose that this is some costly equipment, the equipment itself will get damaged. So just don't go like this and measure voltage. So when you're measuring voltage, you have to be very careful. What is the current? What are the power ratings of this? What actually power dissipation across this? What is the maximum power? If I bring voltmeter, what will happen to them? We have to analyze all. Then on paper, almost we have to analyze. Then we should take a risk of introducing. Got this, no? So any questions can be asked in a comprehension rather than object, they may test with comprehension. So shall I say there's a possibility of R1 getting damaged? Yes, it should be. Okay, let's come for here. So whenever you bring voltmeter, what happened to the effective resistance across that points will decrease. We are here, no? Come for this. So what do you expect, no? So it's telling it is reading 5 volt. It is reading 5 volt. What is the data given? It says it is 5 volt. But actually how much it should read? If it were ideal, how much it should have read? You should have read 6 volt, no? It is reading 5 volt means what does it mean? This given voltmeter is having some internal resistance. But sir, they didn't mention. By looking at the data, you are supposed to make a guess. It is in fact having internal resistance. So it is reading 5 volt. 5 volt means what should be the R1 RV, the value of R1 R. The effective resistance should be equal to how much? Should be equal to 4 ohm, no? Then only 5 volt and 5 volt will drop. So why sir, you are writing 5 volt? It is given, no? Reads 5 volt. If 5 volt is shared by R1 RV, then remaining 5 volt should drop here. Okay, now can we make a guess of RV? So what is the value of RV?
12 volt. 12 ohm.
So RV, so the effective should be equal to 4 ohm, no? The 4 ohm should be equal to R1 RV by 12 ohm. Now this particular voltmeter, it is connected across the other resistor. Sometimes the information of internals of voltmeter will not be available. But when you introduce by looking at the change in circuit parameters, you should make a guess of it. Are you getting the idea now? Whether it's an ideal or practical, we can make a guess. Or we know it is equal to 12 ohm. So what will be the reading of that? So this particular V dash has to be measured or call V to anything. Then applying potential drop, V2 is equal to E into R2 RV R2 plus RV by R1 R2 RV by R2 plus RV. So we know R2, we know R1. Substituting, we'll get the V2. Anybody value?
10 by 3.
10 by 3.
Okay, these are the some typical numericals what we have. So we'll pick up some other numericals. Okay, read the question. A portion of a large network is shown. Only a portion is telling it is. Values of resistance are indicated and both emitters A1, A2 are ideal. If reading of emitter A1 is 1 ampere, how much will be the emitter A2 will read? You can see a wire also. There's also a wire. Here you can see a wire. Okay, what all the circuit? Is asking to calculate the reading of the emitter A2. So how much A1? A1 given this is 1 ampere. I think we have this much of information. What is the reading of A2? It's a part of circuit.
2 amperes.
How much?
2.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So yeah, better what happen, you assume the points here, no? So let me start like this. So I'll give some name for the points. P, Q, this is X, this is Y. X and Q, they are at same port, they're connected by a wire. I'll redraw circuit. Why to redraw? Just to make it little bit very simple rather than, okay, or you can write KVL here also, there's no problem. So this is X comma Q. There's a point. There's a point Y. There's a point P. So PQ and PQ XY. So 4 points are there. So look at that. There's a wire is there. I'll make that X and Q as common point. So between X and P, one ammeter is there. So I'll begin with this. There's an ammeter, and also this 6 ohm. Between P and Y, 8 ohm resistor. Between Q and Y, so then again between X and P, between P and Q, 3 ohm resistor is there. So this will be the. So how these two are, this ammeter is ideal, no? So how much of current is flowing here? The current flowing is 2 ampere. You indicate no. So what is the drop? What is the drop? PQ, QP. Drop QP is equal to how much? It should be equal to 6 into 2. Reading is 1 ampere. So sorry, this is 1 ampere. 6 volt. And how this 3 ohm is parallel to this 6 volt. So how much of current will pass through this? 2 ampere if it flows, then only open the drop will become 6 volt, no? Is that okay, no? So here I'll indicate, that is the drop I'll indicate here. This is how much? 3 ohm. So how do I calculate? VPQ is what? Equals 6 volts. So 2 ampere. I got 2 ampere and 1 ampere. So how much of the remaining, the current? It should flow here. 3 ampere. Plus minus, plus minus. So write down the loop equation. We have to calculate the current through this 15 ohm, no? So let me assume the direction of flow of current plus minus like this. Then write down the loop equation, and this current is to be determined. I'll write I. So write loop equation QPY. KVL in loop QPY.
2 ampere.
Okay, yeah. Fine. So there should be minus 6 into 1 minus I into R, no? So that's 1 into 6, 3 into 8 plus 15 into I into 50 equal to 0.
Two, sir.
2 ampere. It's about the redrawing. I did method. You can apply any other method. There's nothing rule. You can write here only current, you assume, write KVL, KCL. I just redrawn the circuit so that it has become a little bit simple for me. I did method. It's not that you should think like teacher. Any alternatives, huh? You can go for with any alternative. Read the next question. A voltmeter of internal resistance 1 kilo ohm reads voltages 1.8, 1.8 and 4.05 volt between the terminals pairs A, B, B, C and AC respectively of a circuit. Consisting of ideal battery and two unknown resistance R1 R2 as shown. What will be another voltmeter of internal resistance 2 kilo ohm read between these terminal pairs? Internal resistance of the voltmeter he has given how much? 1 kilo ohm. It is given for us. What will be the reading of the other thing? So what all we don't know? We don't know the EMF. This we don't know. And what other thing we should calculate? R1 and R2 also. But you try to notice this thing he has given. So let me go for with the circuit.
Sir, can we take R1 and R2 to be small compared to that voltmeter resistance here?
How you can take like this? Why you are assuming on your own? The voltmeter, it is connected here. Let me directly write RV. It is having some internal resistance. And how much it will read? 1.8 volt. This is what the thing is. Next again. Again, it will read 1.8 volt. The same voltmeter. So what is the resistance of voltmeter? It is given. I'll okay, I'll read that one. So with this, can you say anything about R1 and R2? Must be equal, no? R1, R2 must be equal. And the third situation you see, I'll draw the third one. The third, I'm going to connect it across the battery. When I connect it across the battery, it will read the same voltmeter. It's going to read how much? 4.5 volt. Now what should be the EMF of this? At least I think directly shall I make it? E should be equal to reading of voltmeter. What should be the value of E? E must be equal to 4.5 volt. Okay, now I got the value of E. I know value of E, I know 1.8 volt. I know R1 equal to R2. So let's write this KVL either looking at first and second diagram. Okay, got this. So how do I can say that EMF of cell 4.5? Because the voltmeter was really connected parallel to the cell. It is connected across the cell. The reading of voltmeter should be that one. But sir, it will have internal resistance. I think that it will read the applied EMF, no? It is connected across these two points and it will read the applied EMF. So here you can, what you have to write? You have to put a comment. Voltmeter reads applied EMF. Let's either look at the circuit 1 and 2. So from the circuit 1, I'll write down the equation. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out R1, R2. But I'm from 1 and 2, circuit 1 and 2, one more thing I can conclude from circuit 1 and 2, R1 equal to R2. So from circuit 1, let me check, only look at circuit 1. So what is that 1.8? You can write it as. What is that 1.8? You can write it as. That should be equal to applied EMF E. These two are parallel, no? R1 plus RV by R1 plus R2 plus RV. We have one information, R1 equal to R2 and this one. So we know value of E also, 4.5 volt. R1 equal to R2 and we know RV. I think two equations to unknown. There's equation 1, there's equation 2.
Here in the denominator, it should be R2 plus R1 RV by R1 plus
Yeah, yeah, I'll make changes. There should be R2. Yeah, fine. So you can put 1 into and value also. So this E equal to 4.5. This also you're going to substitute. With that, what will happen? We'll get R1 and R1 equal to R2. Okay, I'm solving this, solving 1, 2. 1 and 2. I'll get R1 equal to R2 equal to how much? 500 ohm. Okay, there's the problem. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring another voltmeter which is having 2 kilo ohm. I think the problem is very simple, no? So the second part of the problem, what is saying, what will be another interactions between these terminal pairs? What will be another voltmeter of interactions 2 ohm, kilo ohm read between these terminal pairs? What will be the reading of the same another voltmeter? It is some other voltmeter. We know R1. So another voltmeter I'm going to bring. RV dash or anything you can write it. Or not write it. There's another voltmeter. So what is value of R naught? R naught is given and value of E we know 4.5 volt. R naught 2 kilo ohm, 2 or 1, I think it is 2 kilo ohm. So this V1 dash we have to calculate. So what is V1 dash? V1 dash should be equal to, yeah. Let me write equation. E into R1 R naught by R1 plus R naught by V1 dash. 2 volt. Huh? Similarly, when it's connected across that, you calculate. I'm not showing the diagram. I'll write only the equation. R2 plus R naught by R1 R2 R naught when it is connected across the second resistor. Okay, so this is the idea is same. Just only thing is safe. Where all voltmeter is there, replace with internal resistance and get into the problem. Okay, let's come for the next one. The diagram shows a portion of electric circuit. All the resistances RA, RBC are known. I think the value of RA, RBC are given and their values are indicated in the diagram. All the voltmeters A, B, C are identical. If the readings of the voltmeters A and B are 7.5, 5 volt, find the reading of voltmeter C. No, it didn't say all the voltmeters A, B, and C are identical. I'll just underline this. Reading of voltmeter C. No, it's not ammeter. Voltmeter. So next, one more thing. One very big thing, like, are they ideal? If they're ideal, then what conditions will arise? So what I should do with, I think straight away you should have asked this particular question. Like, so let's assume that if they are ideal, if they're ideal, this will happen, no? Can we do anything here? That's what, if voltmeters were ideal, if voltmeters if voltmeters were ideal, that's what happens here. So we can't do anything, no current will flow this branch, no current will flow this branch. So definitely what happened, the voltmeters are not ideal, that one, they are practical. If they were ideal, this would have been the situation. And if you write loop equation as no current flows, then VAB equal to VB equal to VC. If they were ideal, all would have read same. I'm supporting all would have been same if they were ideal. Because what do you mean by ideal voltmeter? In place of ideal voltmeter, what you should replace? Open circuit. In place of ideal ammeter, short circuit. Are you getting now? Errors in a circuit. If you see voltmeter, if the ideal, replace with open circuit. If the ammeter, short circuit. Then is it possible VA, the drop across these 2 points equal to these 2 points? Because no current will flow in this branch. No current will flow. If you write KVL, then this drop must be equal to this drop. I'm indicating this one. See, it's like a no, you have to really take help of the basic things. Now you can ask one more question. Sir, you only said to measure voltage, the voltmeter should be connected across some element. There is no element. Then why you are connecting? Is to trouble you with some question. It's not that the voltmeter must be connected. I don't want to measure any voltage. Just I'm bringing voltmeter here. The purpose of these voltmeters are not to measure any voltage across element. They just I introduced like some resistor it is. Because what is it basically an voltmeter? It's a resistor. That's all over. So I have this idea. It is just like one resistor where it will also read what is the drop across it. If it were ideal, this would have been that one. If voltmeters were ideal. So since the VA is not equal to VB, so therefore they are not ideal. Now come to the real problem. Sorry, they didn't mention. Yes, definitely looking at the VA, VB, what pen, you're supposed to make a guess. This will be, so it will have some resistance. So I'll write RA, not ammeter resistance. It is RA, already symbol is there. No, I'll write RVA. RVB. So this is RVC. We have the information of this 9 ohm, 14 ohm, and this is 24 ohm. What is this drop? We have information of this drop, the potential drop. How much it is? 7.5 volt. We have information of this. It is equal to how much? 5 volt. It's asking us to calculate this drop. So let's assume that let there be some current flowing through this. IA, IB, IC. So these are the polarities. The same current will pass through this one. No? So what is 7.5? So let me go with the mathematics. 7.5. The Ohm's law across the voltmeter A, 7.5 should be equal to IA into RA. Next, one more thing. You look at this one. I indicated all the voltmeters are identical. So what is the advantage now for me? Identical means all will have same internal resistance. I just took help of the condition given. Then similarly, the 5 volt across should be equal to IB into RV. Divide these two. So IA by IB should be equal to 7 point or 3 by 2. This is equation 1 you keep in mind. Let's write loop equation. 9 RA. RA value we know it. IA into, oh sorry, this is IA into 9 minus of, and I'm going to for the loop here, minus IA into 9 minus 7.5 plus 5 plus IB into 14 equal to 0. I'm applying KVL minus IA into RA. RA is how much? 9 ohm, no? Okay, from solving this, we'll get relation between IA and IB. Here, what we have one equation, so this will be minus IA. RA is minus 9. IA 7.5 plus 5, so this will be minus 2.5. RB value is 14, so 14 IB equals 0. So I know the equation 2. Solving this, I'll get IA and IB. Once if I know IA and IB, once I know IA and IB, then similarly I'll calculate IC. And once if you know I and IB, I'll calculate RV. I'll substitute here. After knowing RV, then I'll apply KVL, I'll get IC. Then what happens? I know RV value, then I'll get the VC. I'll proceed further. So this should be equal to one more loop equation minus IB into RB minus 5 plus VC plus IC into RC equal to 0. We know value of IB. Then VC is equal to VC and we know VC, we don't know VC and sorry, this is the RV, no? RV value I'll calculate it from here. Solving 192, I'll get IRB, then I'll get the value of RV, I'll keep it here. So VC and IC, two unknowns are there. So one more thing, what we can write it as like VC is equal to IC into RV. What you get RV value, substitute here.
RV is 1, sir.
RV 1, sir. IB 5 amperes, IA 15 by 2 amperes.
IB how much?
5
IA,
ampere.
5 amperes.
IB
Sir, IB is 5 amperes, sir.
12, huh?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
IA is 7.5.
IA is 7.5.
IB is 5.
IC 3.
IC will be 3. Yeah. So we'll get VC. Anybody value VC?
3.
3 volt, huh?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Maximum numericals, it should be something related to KCL, KVL, or V-Stone network, or something different. So nothing to do with any very big idea of the voltmeter ammeter. I read the next question. 3 identical resistors. It's telling identical. Short circuit. So some good condition he has brought it in then. If you short circuit the terminals A and C and then connect the voltmeter between terminals B and D, how much will it read? So the first basic circuits, what are given? This will be A, B, C, and this will be. If you connect voltmeter, all are identical. So let me assume the value R. If you connect voltmeter between terminals A and D, the voltmeter reads. So there's a EMF of cell. This also we don't know. There's a voltmeter. I'm going to bring it here. How much it will read? 3 volt. Between terminals AD it will read 3 volt. I'll change the circuit. The reading of this will be 3 volt. So therefore, what should be the value of EMF? EMF must be 3 volt because it's directly connected parallel to the cell. So therefore, here E must be, and VAD is 3 volt. So therefore, this is one thing. So we got EMF of cell first. Then I will connect it across. The reading of this is 0.96 volt. So with this, I think we can now make a guess of the internal resistance of the voltmeter resistance RV. We can make it. So what is 0.96? 0.96 should be equal to applied EMF. These two are parallel. RV into R by RV plus R by R plus R, RV R by. Okay, fine. So here I think we'll get relation between RV and R, no? We need one more equation.
RV equal to 16R.
RV equal to 16R. This is one. After solving this, keep this. Next again, so it's short circuiting, no? Is asking now the value of the thing. So now I'm going to short circuit it. So let's go for the next condition. The circuit should be a wire, short circuited wire. It is short circuited from A to C. Okay, this is A, B, C, and this is D. And the voltmeter is connected between B and D. Let's take it. So what will be its reading? I'll call V naught, which we are supposed to calculate, or VBD, any symbol you can apply it. Let me call this as V naught. So this we are supposed to calculate. I think this was the question that is asked. No? There's a wire. If best thing is like rather than fighting here, no, you redraw the circuit. Redraw the circuit means so the whole circuit will. I'll show it here only. Let's come. So B and C. Whenever the wires comes, no, better go for redrawing the circuit. It'll be much easier. This is B. This is C. Between B and R, there's a resistor. Then there's a point A. Between A and B, there's a resistor. That one B and D, there's a resistor. Then C and D, there's a resistor. Only three are there, no? And this B and D voltmeter, no? Sorry, this is RV. Yeah. This is R, this is R, this is R. And A and C, they're connected by a wire. I'll show that by red color, you can see now. Oh. And between A and D, SL is connected. This completes the circuit. So it's asking now this V naught. Where is the V naught? The V naught will come here. This V naught has to be determined. So A and C there, you make that as common. So further, so we'll make, so again, I'll redraw the circuit. B. So these two are parallel, no? These two R's will be parallel because A and C if I make common. So A and C. So this will be R, this will be R. This is the voltmeter, and this is that R. And where the where the cell is connected to point A, that one, this is the cell. And this was our drop. The drop what we needed was V naught here. How these two are R by 2. So this the whole circuit now further if you put it in another simplified way. This is R by 2 and this is RV. And here is what the drop which we needed. And this is a cell. There's a point D. This is B. This will become A comma C. Rather than fighting here, writing KCL, KVL, loop equation, no. So read out the circuit so that will be easy for you. And we know this applied EMF 3 volt. So what all that will be shared, what all that EMF will be shared by this R2 and RV, no? So then we'll use potential divider formula.
32 by 11, sir.
32 by 11, sir.
V naught, I'll check once answer. 32 by 11. So the value of V naught will be V naught is equal to E into RV by R by 2 plus RV. So we know relation between RV equal to 16R. So if you can recollect that, this one I'm going to write it as, so we know that from the previous one. This I'm going to substitute here. V naught will be 37 by 11 volt. Just say all these problems are not to test your thinking ability, just to test your patience. It's only a matter of patience, huh? How you draw the diagrams.
Sir,
32, sir.
32 by 11.
32. Yeah. Evening 6 o'clock we'll have a class. At 6 we'll have a class. Okay, thank you all of you. At 6 o'clock we are going to have a class.